All right, guys. Quick review of October 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. The week, so hopefully just going to spend a maximum of 2 to 3 minutes per day on the stocks that I traded. You can review my strategy and how I trade things on my strategy tab on the website. But yeah, so I'll just get right into it. IMGN had news, FDA fast track, worthless, shot up from 4 to 6. It was absolutely ridiculous in the morning. Huge float. Knew it would fade. Waited. I kind of missed this move. I don't think I was up. I usually get up just before 7 a.m. So I was up at 7 a.m. My risk, essentially on this trade to start was just around 550s. Didn't really know, where it was going to go with this 7 a.m. shuffle. So just chucked 550 number out there. So short just a little bit um, into this 5 move, so short over 5, and just continued to risk versus that 550s. And as I saw, after 8 a.m. there was really nothing to the stock. I was able to readjust my level to 5 and continue to, basically there wasn't much. I think I shorted a little bit 930 pop and just covered right out. There really wasn't anything else to do there. The other stock that I traded was CRBS. Very simple stock, was up, stupid. COVID news. 6.5 was area of interest, pre-market highs. Once I saw, this was 9 a.m. shuffle failed. There was a key fail here. This was the first time the stock actually failed. This never really came down here. I think I put on a small piece over 6, super tiny, just to throw it out there, knowing the news was worthless. But obviously, once this held, wanted to see. So came down, saw the first crack here, and so but I'm not chasing weakness, not part of my strategy. So I had to wait for the trade to come to me. Now that I know that the top is in, typically towards 8:30 moves, and so came down. And now my risk was essentially, that point where it had cracked around 6. So I'm going to use 6 as guide, 650s as my risk, and began to short pops, cover weakness. This was an amazing opportunity. Chat room pump 1010. Obviously hammered this, and then once it got super weak down, I knew it was done. And now this about 550, towards VWAP was my risk because there's no reason it should come back here. This was a chat room pump. Only reason it went up, complete fading right down. So just aggressively short pops versus 550. You can see why I adjusted that level. I hope that's clear. And stock went down to 450s and went down to 3s, just like I thought it would much later on. So those were the 2 stocks that I traded on October the 5th. On October the 6th, I traded, just do 6. I traded CBAT. Didn't really know what to do up here. I didn't really have a trade up here. It's mostly a chart trade. It's the afternoon trade. I saw it was clearly weak, saw it was clearly done, and began to short versus VWAP 450s, 470s, up and over VWAP. Clearly didn't think it was going to go back up towards the open price. Very, very weak. So began to short pops into here and just cover into weaknesses. So 4.6 or 4.5 to 4.70s was my risk on that short. The stock was, it should be a $1 stock. It's just up on the stupid sector thing. So no reason that stock should be up. XTNT was up on restructuring finance, worthless news, up huge. I think it was up huge after hours, like 273, 300% or something, and huge gap down, huge 160s, obviously fade towards $1 where it belongs. $1 is my price target. And so, I thought 250s was my kind of the target price based on the after hours action. So 250s was what I had in mind. I actually expected this to fail here too, so began shorting versus 250s, super small because this is away from my target price, added 230s more aggressively. Although I was a little bit worried, I was a little bit surprised it was going up there. Like I thought, covered some, started reshorting a little bit, still not sure. Completely failed here. This seemed a little bit, you know, it's a stock that fades and ramps. So covered a lot down here actually and shorted aggressively into here. They fake halted it. The halt didn't go through. Otherwise, it might have gone to 250. So I didn't get much size on here. And that, once I saw it was done, again, once you see it's done, post 10 a.m., just short pops and cover weaknesses because it's done. There's no reason the stock should come back up to 2. So you can adjust your risk to 2 from 2.5, and once you've adjusted your risk, you can begin to scale accordingly once again. WWR, won't really go over that one. It's a bit of a long. On October the 7th, I traded SunW. That was a long. WWR. That was a long. Did I trade any short? Not really anything on October the 7th. I just did a couple longs that worked out actually really well, so I was happy with that. October the 8th, I traded WWR, DPW, pretty much exclusively on October the 8th, I traded DPW and ALJJ. ALJJ was up on no news, just stupid. Yeah, just shorted it. I don't remember why I was up that early, but I was up that early because I was up for DPW. So the only one that I traded, just this stupid, was up 310s. I thought this was done at 310s. I was up at 4 a.m. Hammered this short, 310s. Thought it was going to 220 or 2, back to 0. Was up on a pure pump, and I didn't cover anything, to be honest with you. I thought it was done. So should have covered into here. I thought about it, but then it had a stupid 4:30 a.m. press release, or whatever time this is, 5:30 a.m., and shot up here. So I didn't really know where this was going to go at this point. So I basically used 7 a.m. shuffle as a guide. I actually saw the trap forming here and longed up to here, and then began to think about versus these highs and where it would go. So just threw a number in there, 4 in my head, and just began to short. Failed 8 a.m. VWAP, and just I didn't really add much size. I wasn't sure what this wanted to do. EV was pretty hot. I think it was fried, or I don't know what it was, but so just didn't really do anything until open. And open, it didn't even reach VWAP, which is super bearish when it came down. So, I was short from up here, so covered a little bit down here, and then added pops towards VWAP. And this turned into a swing, which actually did go down lower. So, so nothing too exciting. I didn't really get a lot of size in this one, wasn't too convicted, just completely threw me off for that price target. So October the 9th on Friday, I had some nice trades. CBAT and Sell were my 2 main trades. So October the 9th, CBAT, I thought it was going to fade all day from the gap up. So this is red green. Red green was at 380 or something like that. Looking back, and so I shorted. Yeah, it was just literally shorting versus this area. So it actually cracked here open. I chased a little bit, can short a little bit, and didn't really have any pops. So I mean, most of my size was up here, covered. Pretty short this nice pop. VWAP used to be down here during the day, and just covered into close. Pretty simple trade, pretty dumb trade. Sell was up huge, no news, big pump from, I believe this was where red was, around 189, and so it was up not huge, like, 30-40% or whatever. And so it was literally shorting this tiny volume bars up here versus 250s. And you can see on the yearly chart, if you go back, was a big point. So I just shorted um, and was expecting red. So I did cover some a little bit before open, sub 2, I think maybe this candle here. And beautiful, beautiful VWAP, push 220 short and cover red. And it wasn't really worth shorting this. As you can see, there's no volume, so I didn't pursue this. I was done with this trade. I didn't look at that trade ever again. I was just done with it. So had a couple longs that day. Not really going to go over the longs too much. Yeah, because there's not much to go over. But I just wanted to review October 5 to 9. All the shorts that I took. I only took a couple small longs that were all successful, but the reasons that these trades all worked out 100% of the time was because I put a reasonable price target where I was wrong, completely wrong on the trade that I wasn't going to fade. I said, okay, I'm going to short pops versus that risk. I told you guys each of these trades where my risk was, why my risk was there, and then just where you would add and where you would start to cover. But very, very quick review. So hope that made sense. I'll try to go in a bit more detail in the news for next week. Just trying to use really explain why I think the news is worth 0. But typically most of the time it's pretty easy. I can explain the news why it's worth 0 in about 5 seconds. If you can't explain why it's worth 0 in like 5 seconds, then it's probably, you have to be sure. You have to be absolutely sure. If you're not sure, then you're not going to be able to short rips like this, right? Why would you short a rip like this if you weren't sure it was going to fail 250? So it might keep going 250s, and that's something I'll cover in another video. The times that I'm occasionally wrong on my strategy, and it does happen. So, but it happens, less than 10% of the time. So, I'm going to be wrong sometimes, and if I'm shorting here and shorting here, my risk is 250s. That's actually a pretty small range given the fact that I'm going down 50 cents. I'm wrong 20 cents up, and I'm right 50 cents down. So even the times that I'm wrong, it's not even that big of a loss. So, but I'll make a video going over my strategy and why I think it's pretty consistent, why I think it's better than what I used to do, and you guys can review that there. So 100% on point calls this week for shorting and the tickers that I chose. So pretty happy about that. And I don't expect to be 100% every week. I know the markets are always right, and people just you make the best educated guesses that you can. But this week was 100%, and super happy about that. So, all right, guys, we'll catch you next week. Hope you enjoyed the video.